So now we're going to talk about how to navigate a constituent record. And we're going to go quickly through the different tabs. And then in some of the later demonstrations, we'll spend a little bit more time about what each tab means. So if you come to records and search for the constituent, you can go to a record that you probably previously accessed before. It'll list the last 10 records you've looked at, or you can search for a person as we showed in the other presentation. The first thing that opens up are going to be business rules that are associated with this individual. We have business rules that will identify if we do not have a valid address for this person, which comes up if that box is checked. If that's the case, please let Advancement Services know if you know of a current address. This rule that's popping up right now is that this constituent is in somebody's portfolio, and so we want you to be very careful about how you contact that individual. If you're planning on contacting the individual, you're likely going to want to speak with the portfolio manager first. We'll talk about how you can find that information in a second. Click OK, and then you're into the constituent record. If you like, you can expand the record so it's a little bit easier to navigate. Again, in this presentation, I'm just going to quickly go through each of the tabs and talk about the general information that's there. And then in the later presentations, we'll talk more specifically about what information you can find. In the Bio 1 tab, you find general biographical information. You find name, nickname, maiden name, birth date, links to spouse information, solicit code information, current address, a preferred address would be here on the front page, as well as any contact information. All current contact information will be here: home, email, business number, that type of thing. This constituent information: is the constituent inactive? Do they have a valid address? Do they give anonymously? Those types of things. You can also click very quickly to their current employment information by clicking on this tab, as well as their most recent Lewis and Clark education degree. On the second tab, the most relevant information you'll find here is their relationship to the college, which is constituency codes. What is this person's relationship? Were they a trustee, alumni, parent, faculty or staff, or a friend of the college? On the addresses tab, we find current address information as well as older, former addresses. Addresses and salutations: these are how we contact the individual through some of our mass mailings and correspondences. Relationships: you'll find all types of individual relationships, which include friends, family, acquaintances, associates, that type of thing, as well as current employment information, former employment, education information, and solicitor information. This solicitor right here is why that original business rule popped up in the first place. Appeals: these are large correspondences from the college to this individual. Notes: pretty much just random biographical notes, communication notes, that type of thing. Gifts: their gift history. We'll go through gifts a little bit more in more detail in a later presentation, but this is where you find gift information. Attributes will be a random characteristics about the individual that weren't able to be tracked elsewhere. Actions: these are typically contact reports or interactions that a solicitor or other Lewis and Clark staff members may have had with this individual, and we want to capture that interaction. It also is non-solicitation correspondences, so the advocate is typically tracked here, as well as other invitations and that type of thing. If the individual volunteered for Lewis and Clark activities, that information will be tracked here. Prospect module, which most of you will not be able to see, has information for cultivating the donor for the major gift officers. And then events are if this individual participated or attended or sponsored an event, that event information can be tracked here. And that's what each of the tabs on the constituent record represent.